Good evening. Happy Thursday once again, and welcome back to the man cave. It's that time of week again. My favorite night of the week, anyway. Brother Jeff,
Howdy.
and we've managed to resurrect Tanya. There's no basketball on tonight, but I thank Tanya for being here because I know she's got work to do. She's busy. So thank you, Tanya, for helping us out tonight. And see, it looks like Ryan's here and Brian. Uh, and I'm ready for my weekly bourbon in a big way. I've earned bourbon this week. So, guys, Jeff, you having a drink with us tonight?
Oh yeah.
I'm going to get some of this Southern Star Paragon. This is that distillery that's near me. It's about 40 miles east of me in Statesville, North Carolina. This is a wheated bourbon, and this bourbon right here. If you're a fan of Weller, I challenge you to find this and try it because I think you'll find that it's a better bourbon. I've compared it with my Weller 107, which you can't see it behind me here at the moment, but I'll take the Southern Star over the Weller any day of the week. And where I live, Weller's a unicorn. Even the green label Weller, it's never on the shelf. It's only available at a lottery or whatever. It's one of those allocated ones that you never see. So, Chip, Anthony, Robert, welcome aboard, guys. But Tanya, have you got the coffee flowing up there?
I do have the coffee flowing. It's the decaf
No,
though.
the decaf. Well,
Yeah.
I understand that it's that time of the evening. So, if you're having a drink, or if you're not, just leave me a comment in the comments field over here. Let me know where you're watching from and what you're having to drink with us tonight. So, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, a blended whiskey, 119. That's barrel strength or cask strength. Yeah, Robert, the stuff's smooth. Last week we were on here. I had the Larceny barrel proof, and I was I was commenting about that being probably the easiest drinking barrel proof that I've ever had. Mike's here, Jim.
Brian,
Good
I'm
deal.
coming to hang out with you. I'm gonna just go hang out with Brian.
Tanya's a Cheerwine fan for sure. Yeah, Jeff, do they have Cheerwine down where you are?
Yep.
Tanya, Cheerwine's a regional soft drink. I don't know how far it extends now, but
It is regional, and I used to can tell you how much it would cost to ship it to Alaska because they don't have it in Alaska or
yep,
Hawaii, and they will ship
right,
it to the contiguous 48 states. So that if you need a Cheerwine fix or you have
right.
never had the nectar of the gods,
Nectar
go
of
check out
God.
their stuff
Well,
and do that.
I have some cousins that some of which you've met, Elizabeth and her family out in California. My cousins, when they would come here to visit, they would take Cheerwine home with them in their suitcases because they couldn't get it on the West Coast, and I'm sure they probably still can't. It's regional, kind of like Sundrop, and I don't know which one of the two has the widest distribution. Now, do you have Sundrop in your area, Jeff?
Nope.
So
Nope.
maybe Cheerwine's got more distribution than Sundrop. Sundrop here is a Coke product, and it's a citrus drink, kind of like Mountain Dew, but it's just a little more citrusy than Mountain Dew.
Now, it can be a Coke product. So,
Yeah,
because this is one of my dear friends, Choice Beverages in Gastonia, North Carolina, is
right.
one of the local Sundrop. And
Hmm.
theirs is better than anybody else's. So, if
Yep.
you're ever like in the Gastonia area, if you see the Choice, the Sundrop bottled by Choice, that's totally the one you want because it's the best.
Right. And Whistler, there's nothing wrong with Benchmark. Uh, I've got some bottle of every variety of Benchmark here. My local ABC store had it a while back where they had some of all of it, and I bought every iteration of Benchmark so I could try it, and I really like the barrel proof one. That barrel proof one, it's not stag, but you can taste the stag in it. It's a stag that hasn't been aged as long. It's the same bourbon, and man, it's really good.
Well,
Melinda says
Gastonia,
she's coming to Gastonia.
the beverages are awesome. Like I said, oh, Hemi just went by.
Melinda,
Anyway,
let me know when you're coming because that's not far from us.
yeah, I mean, Choice Beverages are really, they do a fantastic job. I went to college with the guy that owns the place, fabulous guy, and his
Right.
sun drops are better than anybody else's.
Okay.
And
Well,
not just because he's my friend, they really are.
enough about regional soft drinks. I'm sure there's regional soft drinks in other areas that we don't have access to, and I don't know. It's kind of like when we went to the World of Coke down in Atlanta. We got to taste Coke products that are available in other countries that aren't available here, and some of them are horrendous, and some of them are amazing.
But some of them
So,
are super tasty, yeah.
yeah. So if you ever get the opportunity to visit a place like World of Coke, if you ever visit the Atlanta area, do go see that. All right.
You can do it out
Enough
Disney
about
too.
that. Yeah. All right, Tanya, we'll bring you back a little later. Okay. So, Jeff, you said you're hitting 90-degree temperatures down there in Florida already?
Oh yeah, 92 today.
92. We got up in the lower 80s today. We had light rain for the last day and a half, and then it got sunny and warm today. But I haven't seen 90 degrees yet. I'll see 90 degrees this month. We always get 90 in our first 90s in April, but my grass needs
92,
cutting.
humid, and the pollen is
Yeah,
crazy.
the pollen's really bad here right now, and my grass really needs cutting. I was going to do that today, and I got lazy, so I'm going to try to get it done tomorrow. I don't want to mess with it over the weekend, and I also don't want to wait till Monday. I gotta try to get that done tomorrow. So that's on my to-do list for tomorrow before I go to work. But anyway, down to business. We're
Mine's
here.
pressure cleaning.
We're here for the first of the month special where Jeff and I review and hopefully use barbecue rub and a barbecue sauce. And last week I showed you guys what we were going to do, and I don't know if any of you got the chance to pick any of this up this week or ever try it, but today we're going to talk about Simply Marvelous Barbecue's cherry rub, and we're going to talk about the Blues Hog Original barbecue sauce. And when I picked these, I picked them for a reason, which is basically when I first got into barbecue and smoking, when I was getting into the looking and participating in some forums, online forums about barbecue. There was a lot of talk, coming in from the competition circuit. Chad, glad you could make it with us. And everything I saw where they were talking about the rubs and the sauces they were using, the competition teams were all using this stuff. It seems like everybody that you talk to on the competition trail was using Blues Hog sauce and Simply Marvelous cherry rub, but all of them were adding some of their own goodies to it so they could make themselves unique in one way or the other. But the simple fact that so many competition teams used to use this stuff, it's got to tell you something about it. It tells you that they're good, and hopefully we're going to see some of the reasons that they use this stuff as we talk today. Do you have yours handy with you, Jeff? Okay, the rub. What do you think about this rub? I'm gonna take myself a little finger taste test of it, which I've already done. But
Well, first thing that I noticed when I opened up the jar was it's labeled cherry seasoning. They're not
Mhm.
kidding. You get
Right.
that cherry smell right there in the forefront.
Did you get any additional smell from yours?
Uh, I got a cherry and like a brown sugar,
Well, I can
which
smell the
kind of
brown sugar.
which is kind of surprising. I mean, brown sugar is the number one ingredient in it. So
Right. I can smell a smokiness out of it, and I'm wondering if the paprika that is used in here has been smoked, or if it's a smoked paprika.
it doesn't
I
say it's
just
a smoked paprika, but
no, but when I the aroma that I get from that provides a very small amount of smokiness to it.
yeah, yeah, I agree with you on that. And it is the
Uh,
paprika that you're smelling as being smoked. So it probably
yeah,
is a smoked.
but the ingredients on the back of this rub are in the order that they're listed here. I should have taken this picture and I didn't do it, but it's brown sugar, salt, dehydrated cherry powder, which is the third ingredient on the list. So there's plenty of it in there. And then it
Well, I
just
guess
says
that really doesn't help,
spices.
does it?
No, it
Just
says
shows it all
spices.
backwards.
And underneath spices, it's got dehydrated garlic, paprika, onion powder, and the tricalcium phosphate that they use that's an anti-caking agent in all these commercial rubs. So this rub, you've heard me talk about rubs need to have certain ingredients in them because a lot of it does not make it through the cook. And I don't believe the cherry in this stuff makes it through the cook either. But this rub is built on the ingredients that I've talked about before that are your basic barbecue ingredients, which are salt, sugar, paprika, onion, garlic, and black pepper. I'm sure that spices that's listed here includes black pepper because I can taste the black pepper as well.
Yeah,
There's not a whole lot of it in there, but you can actually see it if you look closely. But
yep.
in my opinion, the cherry here is one of the ones that sells it off the shelf. That's one of the flavors and aromas that you can taste it on your finger and on your tongue, but that cherry gets lost in the cook unless you're shaking this on afterwards. So I think this is a fantastic rub. I don't think it doesn't have the popularity it
No.
used to have. You never hear people talking about this, and you don't find it on the shelves where all these other commercial rubs are now. You won't see it beside Meat Church or beside the Heath Ryle stuff or the Mo Son or the whoever, the Lane stuff. You won't find this. Atlanta Grill Company never carried this to my knowledge. But uh, I went to the Simply Marvelous website the other day to have a look, and their website's in the trash can. It's just not working. And there are other places that sell this, though. So Simply Marvelous has got multiple varieties of this now with different flavors. So Chip wants to know, can you taste the end result of a seasoning just from tasting the rub? No, you can't. And that's one of the things that I keep talking about. And one of the reasons that I believe it's prudent to make your own rub to cook with. It's so much cheaper to do it. But these things, in my mind, are something I like to shake on after the cook. Like if I'm going to make a pulled pork sandwich, I like to shake some barbecue rub on it after I put the sandwich together. I like to have that there.
Mhm.
Or like if we're going to do, pork loin or sausages or whatever, I like to shake rub on at the table. Like, put the rub on the table, put the rub that you used on it. If it's not a homemade rub, or put some of whatever you've got like this on it after the cook. And that way this bottle lasts a really long time. I can't remember. I think I paid $12 or $13 for this bottle, which is about the going price for a bottle of rub this size anymore. Some are a little more, they're between $10 and $15 on average, depending on what you're getting and where you're getting it. But like I said, that one was big in the competition circuit when I was young in this hobby. So it's always stuck in my mind that that's one worth playing with. By the same token, this Blues Hog sauce was in the market. And back then there was only one variety of Blues Hog. They didn't have the additional varieties that they have out there today. So I want to get a little taste of this guy right quick.
I forgot how good that was.
Yeah. And this is a sweet sauce, but it's
but it's got a little hint of heat in the back.
Yeah, there's a little bit of heat,
just a little bit,
not much. No. If you like a sweet heat sauce, this one needs a little help. It needs a little extra. This is probably what a lot of these competition cooks are doing. They're probably adding a little hot sauce to that. And this sauce is also, Jeff, how would you compare the texture of this sauce in this jar to a typical barbecue sauce? Did you find that yours maybe is a little thicker?
Oh, definitely. It's a lot thicker.
Yep.
And it's even more so, after you put it in the refrigerator.
Right.
I mean, when you put it in the refrigerator, it comes out like molasses.
Yeah. Well, I keep it in the refrigerator when I'm not using it, but I always bring it out to a minimum of room temperature before I put it on anything. And if I'm going to put it on hot food, I heat it up.
Oh, definitely.
Same way with anything else.
When I pour it into my my little Lodge pot that I use for heating up my sauce, it was gloom, gloom.
Right. And Rick's got a good question there, Jeff.
It can. You need to be very cognizant of the store rub that you're putting on as to where the salt is in the ingredient list. Because if you salt it and the salt is like number 1, number 2 in the ingredient list, yeah, you could oversalt it. So you really kind of need to play it safe.
My thoughts on that have changed over time, and I'm gonna toss this concept out there and get Jeff's feedback on it and see if he thinks this way also. Brining is allowing the salt to get into the meat, to get inside the meat through osmosis, and given enough time, it will penetrate. It takes days and days to penetrate bigger pieces of meat, though. Like a pork butt with the thickness of something like that, it would take a month in a brine to get salt all the way into the middle of that. Something like a pork loin is going to take 2 weeks probably. I'm trying to remember how long I did the equilibrium cure on the Canadian bacon that I made, but it was 12 to 14 days if I remember correctly to get the salt all the way through. So the salt takes time to get into the meat. And Rick's question is if we add a store-bought rub on later, does it get too salty? In my opinion, probably not, unless you just add a whole lot of it, because the salt that you add at that point is all going to be on the outside of the meat. What you add on after the brine is not going to penetrate into the meat between the time you cook it and the time you eat it. What do you think about that, Jeff?
Well, I agree with that to a point, but see, Rick, when he made his comment there, he didn't say how long he pre-brined.
Right.
And he didn't say what his ratio of salt, pepper, or whatever other spices that he was putting on. That's why I answered conservatively, yes, you could.
My guess is he does a pork. He cooks a pork butt or ribs like I do. He'll salt it, or put his regular rub on it and put it on a rack in the refrigerator for 8 to 24 hours before you cook. So a pork butt, if you do that with something thick like a pork butt, 24 hours is going to get that salt 1.5 inches or 2 inches deep into the meat at max. Maybe not even that far. Now
I'd be surprised if it got that far.
The one thing I don't know about the osmosis process is once you start heating that meat, I wonder if that process speeds up and that salt that's in there works all the way in.
I would think that it does pull it in.
Yeah. So
I don't think it's going to pull it into the core of the meat, but I think it will pull it in farther than just putting it in the refrigerator.
Right. So, Rick, that's something you should test. I don't think you'll ruin a piece of meat by testing that theory. I really don't. Uh, but this goes back to the meathead Goldwyn's theory about making your own pork rub that doesn't have any salt in it, where you can salt your meat properly. One of the things I do know about a lot of these commercial rubs, they have a lot of salt in them, but they don't have enough salt in them to properly season something like a butt or a brisket unless you put an awful lot of that on there.
Mhm.
Uh, in a nutshell, the right amount of salt for your beef or your pork is approximately a teaspoon per pound, and you're not going to get that much out of one of these, because when I like a pork butt, for instance, let's say I'm going to use this to season a 10-pound pork butt. I'm going to use somewhere between 1/3 of a cup or 1/4 of a cup and 1/3 of a cup of this to season a
Mhm.
pork butt, and it's not that's probably going to come out to maybe maybe a tablespoon of salt. So that's 3 teaspoons going to 10 pounds of meat. So I don't think I think you're probably not going to oversalt it. If you use a salt, pepper, garlic blend like some of these all-purpose ones, you might get more. But I think it's better to salt the meat and then add your rub right before you're going to cook it. And I really don't think you'll oversalt it no matter what rub you use. But if you're making your own rubs, you could fix the problem by just leaving the salt out of the rub. Anything else, Jeff? You think about that anymore? Any
No, that,
other reasons why you wouldn't do that?
if I'm doing a salt brine, I normally do not use a rub that has salt in it, just
Right.
because when I do my salt pepper brine, it
Mhm.
goes on there pretty heavy because big
Yeah.
pieces of meat can accept it. But then, like I say,
Yeah.
you add a rub on there with salt, you could get a little too salty, in my opinion.
Let's
I would
talk
rather
about
have to add a little bit more salt at the table than try to
right.
take it away.
All right. Let's look at these cooks. So what we got here, Jeff?
What we got there is one slab of baby backs cut in half, and they've been generously seasoned with the Simply Marvelous uh,
Okay.
rub. And they went on the Huntsman at 225.
You didn't use the do you have the next level yet?
Yes, I have it, but no,
You
I
didn't
have not
use it
used
on
it
this
yet.
cook? Okay.
No, I'm trying to figure out where exactly I'm going to really use that at,
Right.
other than baking or pizza,
Right.
because the Huntsman has done so well doing fire on one side
Hmm.
and nothing on the other side
You're
that
going to use it when you want to cook steaks.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably that, but
Right.
because that's
Be,
a fast cook. But
being able to have that meat about an inch above your coals is a game changer. But
well, yeah,
anyway,
that part of it. But I'm talking about with using the deflectors
right.
in it.
How, how long have these been on at this point?
Uh, maybe 15, 20 minutes because I forgot to take a picture when I first put them on.
Okay. So you're using lump charcoal, or are you using any smoking wood in there with it?
I've got 3 pieces of apple,
Okay.
and
So
they're
here
not
we
real big
are.
pieces.
Time to
So there we
wrap.
are. I'm ready to wrap them. The meat is just starting to pull back a little bit from the bones. Um, so I wrapped them in single foil, which was my mistake. I always wrap them in double. For some reason, I wrapped it single, and uh, evidently I had a sharp edge or my tongs when I went to move
Well, that's all
the
right.
package around. It leaked all the juice out. So there they are. They came out of the foil, and I'm just getting ready to put the first coat
How
of
long?
barbecue
What
sauce on.
temperature were you cooking at today, or whenever you cook these?
I cooked at 225 until I wrapped them. Then when I wrapped them,
Right.
I jumped it up to 275.
Right. And how long did you go unwrapped?
Uh, I went 3 hours unwrapped, an hour wrapped, and then, or an hour and a half wrapped, and then
Right.
a half an hour where I'd put the sauce on and let it tack up.
Yep. So there's the
So
sauce.
painted that sauce on nicely. It looks so
Yep.
pretty. And
Yeah,
you can
that
see
sauce
that
has
meat.
got a good glaze to it.
Yeah, that meat's
That
pulled
that
back from the
sauce
bone.
glazes nicely. It does.
It does. It does a beautiful job on glazing.
So those
And
look perfect.
there they are, all nicely
Yep.
laid out there.
Got a nice smoke ring and it got a nice bark there with that sauce.
Yep.
What kind of cake did you make there to go with
And
it?
we had it with, that's a squash cake, squash and zucchini cake.
That looks pretty good. Got egg in it. Egg
Yep.
and some flour.
Egg and flour and cornmeal,
Yeah.
real fine cornmeal.
So what was your
Salt,
thought
salt,
about
pepper, onions.
how were these ribs with this sauce and rub?
I really enjoy them. Like I said, I'm glad you picked this this combination. I had never had the rub before. I'd had the sauce before, but I haven't had it in a couple of years.
Yep.
Well, last time I had it was from when I went down for the Ace Hardware show, which has been what, 3 years ago now.
Yeah,
So it's
I've
probably
had
been
both.
2 years since I've had any of it, and man, I forgot how good that sauce really is. That's a good
Yep.
sauce.
I've had both, but it's been 7 or 8 years since I've had any of this Simply Marvelous rub because, like I said, it's just fallen by the wayside, or their marketing's not as good as everybody else's marketing these days. So, yeah, but
But
that looks good, Jeff.
you see the amount of meat on those, John? That's the
Yep.
one I got from Costco.
Oh, these are the
Yeah.
Costco ribs. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
extra
look pretty
meat. I
good.
thought it was two racks to a package, so I was really excited because it was like 11 pounds. So I'm going ooh ooh, and the top
Yeah,
one was really had a lot of loin meat on it, but it turned out to be three racks. So they came in at almost 4 pounds a rack.
right. Anthony, we cooked with just the original sauce. We didn't add anything to the sauce or the rubs because we're just kind of evaluating these. We don't want to turn it into something it's not for that purpose. And it's really good. I really don't think it needs anything. But once again,
No.
that's totally personal preference. You can make whatever. I used to buy the KC Masterpiece original sauce and
Yeah.
modify it to what I like. Before I started making my own sauces, the KC Masterpiece is a good one to modify, but this one's even better. But this one costs a lot more. This is not. I think those were $10 a piece for these. It's a 20-ounce jar.
Yep.
I think I paid $10 a piece for those, but I bought these on Amazon. That sauce may be a little cheaper if you find it in the grocery store. I don't know. Walmart's got these, but I don't think they have the jar. I think theirs come in a squeeze bottle, and I don't remember what the prices are on it at Walmart. But it's if you want an inexpensive sauce to start with, this is not the one. But this barbecue sauces go a long way for me. I don't mind spending $10 on a jar like that because I'm not letting stuff swim in sauce. Sauce is a glaze for me. I'm not, if I'm never using more than 1 or 2 tablespoons of sauce at a time. So that goes a pretty good way. Let's see what else we got in Jeff's picture.
Yeah, it's $7.98 at Walmart, and it's in a what size bottle is this? 25-ounce squeeze bottle.
25-ounce for $7.98.
Yep.
Well, that's a pretty good deal. That's better than I got it for on Amazon. So, tell us about this pork tenderloin.
Okay, well, I actually did the pork tenderloin before I did the ribs. because the sauce and the rub came in the day I was going to do pork tenderloin. I says, well, let's throw this on.
Right.
So
Pork tenderloins are fun.
they're easy. I mean, it's a cheap cut of meat, but it's a good cut of meat.
Yep.
So I put it on the Huntsman, and on this one I'm cooking right over direct heat because it does not take long to cook that tenderloin. To get it up to 135.
Right.
So I'm just letting it go. I think with this I put one piece of post oak in it, and you can see my little Lodge pot over there that's got my sauce in it, keeping it warm.
Are you running the Venom right here? In that picture?
No, nope,
Nope. Okay.
nope. Just running the grill straight out right.
You're gonna love the next level. I'm just thinking about something. I'll ask you later about it. I don't want to bring that up here, but I've got a question about that setup right there. I want to look at it a little bit. So you're just warming your sauce up.
Yep.
And then you glazed it with the sauce.
Yep. But right when it hit 130, I put the glaze on it and let it go to the 135 and pulled it.
Chip's asking a question about Bratty sauce.
So Bratty sauce.
I've never heard of that one.
Never heard of it, Chip. So I would have to say no, I haven't tried it.
Yeah.
Is it good? So there it is, all nicely sliced open. You can still see it's nice and pink inside.
Yep.
Tanya wouldn't like it, but
I've got when I cook pork tenderloins for us, I have to let them finish up. They're a medium finish when I cook them for me and Tanya, because I found that at the 140 to 142 mark, that's the sweet spot where there's no pink. It's just all white at that point, but it's still very moist and very tender at 140. There's just no pink in it. If Tanya's not eating,
that's what surprises me about the pork tenderloins. It doesn't have any real intermuscular fat in it, to keep it moist.
It's very lean.
But it's very lean, but they always come out really nice and juicy. I've never had a dry one.
They're very good for sure. So what's you got some squash and zucchini?
Yeah, we used the spiralizer, and Kathy made that, and it's with Parmesan cheese and I forget what else was in it, but she made it in the oven, and man, that was good. But like I said, as you look at the tenderloin, there, it's you can see how pink. It's got a nice little bit of a smoke ring to it. It's got a nice crust, and it was melt in your mouth tender.
Tanya and I have a spiralizer. She's got a spiralizer we used to make zucchini noodles with and serve pasta sauce over it. Yep. So anyway, it's
got the KitchenAid one, and it does a great job on anything. It'll peel apples, whatever you want.
So what's your overall impression of this sauce and rub?
Well, the sauce, like I say, I've had it before. I forgot how good the sauce really was. But I am impressed with this cherry. I do think it will become one of my staple rubs. Right.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, if you thought you might buy it again.
Oh yeah,
because it's not the easiest one to find, and I did notice that there's a company called Big Papa Smokers that sells this online as well as Amazon. I don't know if there's a price difference from one to the other or not.
Yeah, I looked. Atlanta Grill does not have it.
Oh yeah, they've never had this, but this is one I'd highly recommend. And if you ever want to try a new rub that's not going to be what your next door neighbor's using, get a bottle of this. This is something. This is absolutely worth trying, and you may find that it might become one of your favorite rubs because it has all the characteristics that a good barbecue rub needs to have. It's got the sweetness with a little bit of heat. There may be a small amount of cayenne pepper in that, but this is one of those things, if it's not hot enough for you, you can add cayenne pepper to taste to make it what you want it to be. And that's what all these competition barbecue teams are adding. I bet a lot of them were probably not adding much anything more than cayenne pepper to it, because this one, a lot of these competition teams like the hot versions of whatever rub they're using, because hot's often a misnomer when you're talking about a barbecue rub, because by the time the cook's done, most of the heat's gone. There's only a little bit left after the cook on a hot rub, unless you've overdone it. So, anyway, let's see what I cooked. I did my cook today because I've had a difficult week here and gotten a lot of other things going on, and I didn't get to do my cook till today. I went shopping for ribs earlier in the week. I was going to buy the same thing, Jeff, something similar to Jeff's. I was going to get the baby back ribs that I normally buy from Walmart. Here, my local Walmarts carry Smithfield, and they have these ones called extra meaty baby back ribs, or they all say extra meaty on them. But if you dig through the case, you'll occasionally find some that weigh 5 pounds or more, and 5 pounds is a lot of meat on a rack of baby backs. And when I find those, I get them because they're absolutely delicious. When you've seen me cook those before, you've seen Jeff cook those before, so we've already brought that to the table. But I couldn't find any baby backs that I liked. I couldn't find anything over 3.5 pounds. So I bought this rack of Smithfield, what they called this a St. Louis cut. And what I would like to do is call it a pseudo St. Louis cut, because over here on the right edge, they didn't trim any off that right edge at all. And they did trim just a little bit off of this left edge, and then they cut the rib tips off. So I still had to do some additional trimming on this rack of ribs to turn it into what's traditionally known as a St. Louis cut. So I flipped it over and I squared that other end off. I cut the flap off that runs across this diagonal line right here, and then I pulled the membrane off. And then, without making it competition pretty, this is what a rack of St. Louis cut pork spares should look like. In the competition world, this fat over here on the lower left, your typical competition cook's probably going to trim that off. For me, I wasn't too concerned about that. I decided to go the old school route today and use a plain yellow mustard binder on these for the rub. So that's all I put on there, and I just smeared it on there evenly with my hand, and then shook a liberal layer of our Simply Marvelous Cherry Rub on top of it, and I did the same thing on the other side of the ribs, and I just let these sit here while my grill was getting ready. You know what? Why don't I have my pictures? I thought I had put. I got to back up here for a minute. I didn't put my pictures of the grill set up coming in here. I wanted to show that. Okay. I use briquettes today because back when I first started doing this, I was using briquettes pretty exclusively. And briquettes, if I can speak tonight, briquettes do bring a flavor profile that you're not going to get with lump. Lump is the cleanest burning charcoal out there. It's not going to bring any additional flavor or a lot of additional flavor unless it's not fully carbonized. But these briquettes, there's just something about the flavor of cooking over briquettes that's unique, and I like it. So I use these, and I've been using briquettes in this Huntsman about 50% of the time. So I just put a bunch of briquettes in the middle there, and I pulled up what was in the middle, put them in my small chimney, and lit those up and let them come together. That's the wrong picture. And then I just dumped them back in that hole in the center and kind of put some up over the top of it to where it wouldn't be too tall. I had a couple of chunks of hickory that I cut down into smaller pieces with my hatchet to put in there to create some smoke. And then I decided to use the next level heat deflector system that's an add-on accessory for the Huntsman. So I put the heat shields in, and then I just put down a piece of foil in the bottom of there to help make the cleanup a little easier. And then I put the top racks on, and then I fired up to run at 250. I did my cook at 250 today, and these side shelves, I just got these side shelves in for the Huntsman last week, and I got them installed day before yesterday, or maybe Monday. I don't remember what day. I put those on one day this week, and I'm very impressed with how durable those side tables are. Jeff, you got those too, don't you?
Yep.
They're very well made, and there's a condiment. Go ahead.
That's what I was going to say. One of the nice features about them is that little condiment rack there.
Right.
You're not limited to mounting that thing on the front of the grill. They'll put the holes for that that are machine tapped on all three sides.
Right.
So you can decide, you may want it on the front on the right side, you may want it on the side on the left side, or maybe in the back.
That's correct.
So
yeah, what's Jeff saying? You can mount them anywhere.
They really thought out things when they designed them. They just didn't willy-nilly throw it together.
The only thing I don't like about these condiment shelves are the tool hooks. This is one part. It's the same part on both sides, and I don't know if you can see in the picture here, the tool hooks on this side are right here butted up against the grill, and on this other piece, they're out here on the outer edge. So there's no way to mount that to where you have any symmetry with your tool hooks. I know it's not a huge thing, but it's just something that tweaks my OCD. And there's no way you can put those on the grill where there's any symmetry to that. There's only one part there that they haven't made two separate pieces so they can have symmetry. It's just the same.
Yeah, there is, John. On the right side, they go like that. Then on the left side, you put it around on the back side, and then all those little grooves are close to the grill.
Yeah, but I don't want my tool hooks on the back side of the grill.
You didn't say anything about that, John. You said symmetry.
Well, symmetry.
I gave you symmetry.
Functionality's got to be a given. If anybody wants to put their tool hooks on the back side of the grill, then that's fine with me.
Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, feel free to do that. But then if you put them both back there, you still don't have symmetry. You got one.
I didn't say put them both.
One off the other side.
One in the front, one in the back.
I really don't know what they were thinking when they did that. That just doesn't make any sense to me at all, other than the fact it makes them only have to create one part instead of two. So
that's the whole reason why they did it. I mean,
but I've never seen a grill in my life like that. But it's like I said, it's not a showstopper. It's just something that I don't care for. I'm not
for us OCD people.
Yeah,
it tweaks us.
Right. I would rather have them both on the outside edge to hang the tools away from the grill rather than right up against it. So not a big deal either way, but I noticed that, and when I looked, I said, I wonder if I got two. Was supposed to get one that's different and not, but that's not the case. This is by design. So, but anyway, I really like the side tables. I didn't think I was going to care for those, and those were provided to me. I did not have to buy the side tables. I bought the I paid for the next level kit, and I paid for the rotisserie that I don't have yet. That was supposed to be here in March, but it's been backed up again. They were supposed to be here in December, and then it got backed up to March, and now it's been pushed back into April. So I really don't have any idea when the rotisserie's coming. I'm just not sure.
Well, they said 2 weeks, but we shall see.
Well, they said that in December as well, so I'm
Yep.
curious. I'm wondering if they actually know when it's coming at this point, because it seems like they would know when they're planning to arrive. But I'm not sure that they do. But anyway, I really like the side tables. There's a view of them from above. I've got a little bit of water on there because we had a little bit of rain, but I kind of like those. They're very durable. I'll not talk about how I damaged one of the brackets that they mount on. I'll talk about that at some other point, maybe. I made a mess of it like I tend to do. Okay, but anyway, I forgot to take those pictures out. I meant to put those pictures in my album for the live stream, and I just forgot to do it. So anyway, we seasoned those ribs, both sides, and I just let them sit while my grill was coming up to temperature, and then I took them out and just tossed them on the grill. And I'm planning for five, roughly. I'm planning for anywhere from 5 to 6 hours for this cook. That piece I cut off the end, I decided to season it and just toss it on the grill, and I figured that's going to be my pitmaster snack when I'm done with this. Plus, Jeff, that's off the short ribs edge over there, so
Yep.
that's got a lot of meat on it. Yep. And this is an hour and a half into the cook, and from this picture, you can kind of see why competition pit masters like this particular rub. It makes a pretty color. And this is going to get a little darker as we go, that you'll see, but it puts a beautiful color on these ribs. And that's at about an hour and a half. I bumped my temperature up here for some reason. I'm trying to remember why I did that. I think I was having a pretty large discrepancy in temperature between the venom probe and my analog thermometer up front. So I was actually tweaking this to even out the temperature in the grill to where I really wanted to be cooking. See, this is, yeah, I'm running about 230 right there after I bumped it up to 275. So and later on, Jeff, they eventually evened out, but it took 3 hours or better,
Yeah,
four
it's gonna
hours
take a
for it.
while. Yeah.
Yeah, it took longer than I expected it to. So here we are coming up to 3 hours. And you can see how these ribs are developing that deep mahogany color that's very preferable in a competition environment. So this is actually right at the 3 hour mark here. That other one was probably at 2.25 hours. This is what they look like right before I'm ready to wrap. So I pulled these guys off. I laid down some foil and put some brown sugar and some pats of butter on there. In the competition world, they like to use that squeeze parquet in this instant rather than butter, but I didn't have squeeze parquet and I wasn't going to go buy it just to do this. So, uh, with that here, you take that rack of ribs and put it meat side down over that, and then you wrap your foil over as tightly as you can because you want to keep that sugar and butter up against that other surface, and you put this guy back on the grill with that meat side down. And this is the stage where you can go for, if you're doing a 3-2-1 cook at 225, you'd do this stage for 2 hours. And I went for about an hour and a half at this stage. And this is what you can see coming out of here at an hour and a half. I've got a lot of liquid in there in that foil. And you can see up top here how the bones have pulled back. This rack's cooked pretty well. And I got a little lazy when I was taking this off the grill to put it back on, and I wasn't careful with it when I picked it up, and I split it in half. I pulled it apart in the middle. So good thing I wasn't cooking for a competition. But this is what that rack of ribs looks like. There's no sauce on here yet. This is what I have on top just from that butter and brown sugar that rib was cooking, and you saw all that liquid in that pan. This is the color we have on the top of the ribs from that point. So here we're going to add our sauce because I'm going to go anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour out here with just the sauce on it. So I drizzled on some of that Blues Hog sauce, and I just took my basting brush and spread it out evenly all over the top of those ribs and let it go for another. I think I went for 40 minutes, maybe 45, and you can see in this picture a little bit how that's tacked up. And Carl, I didn't show pictures of this, but during that first 3 hours, during the first 2.5, I guess I did go 3 hours unwrapped total. During the last 45 minutes of that, I spritzed it 2 or 3 times with water. So I did that after the bark had started to form on these ribs. When you're cooking ribs, when you see the tops of them dry out, I don't know if that one picture that I had here shows what they look like at that stage. This is a little wet, a little moist because I may have just spritzed it right there. It's a little moist there too, but here you see that these are dry. This is when it dries off on top like that. That's about the time you want to consider starting a spritz, but you don't want to spritz them too much. You only want to spritz twice or maybe 3 times. Don't overdo it, or they'll be soft. It won't make a nice bark on those ribs. Jeff, do you spritz yours at any point?
Yes, but this time I didn't spritz mine, nor did I put butter and brown sugar or butter and run amok syrup. And the reason why I didn't do that is I wanted to make sure that I got the full flavor of the rub
Right.
and the sauce. I didn't want
Yeah.
to add anything else into the picture since we were evaluating the rub and the sauce.
Yeah.
I wanted to get
Well,
as pure
that's
a cook as I could.
That's a good point, but I think both of these are heavy on brown sugar to begin with. The sauce, I think the sauce and I don't think I altered the flavor of either one significantly there.
So I didn't want to take the chance. I wanted to get the rub and the sauce in its purest form, for lack of anything, better to say.
So I pulled these guys off, and I struggled outside today to get a flattering picture of these ribs. My picture mojo was just not working for me today. I was trying to get a picture that showed this deep burgundy color that these ribs have coming off of here, and I couldn't get a picture that did that justice. And maybe that one does a little bit more. It's a little easier to see how that sauce glazes up on top of here. That one certainly doesn't do it, but then I decided to just go ahead and cut into these guys, and I cut my ribs out, and these were delicious. I let those rest covered in foil for about 30 minutes while I ate that end piece. I sat down at my desk and ate that end piece, and had a drink while these guys were resting before I came out here to slice these up. And they're absolutely delicious. They were extremely tender, extremely juicy. The flavor profile on the bark of these things was exactly what I would expect it to be. I didn't do a bite through test on one of these. I probably should have, because these have the bite through texture that you're looking for in a competition rib. But I just packaged these up because the one I had eaten was on the other end of the rack, that tip that I cut off there that we talked about. So that's the end of the pictures that I have from my cook today using this sauce and this rub. Chip, this grill doesn't have a riser like that. It's a little, there's a hole in both sides of the lower part of the body where that spit runs. Jeff, you have the rotisserie already.
Yes.
This doesn't have a wedge like your Kamado grills.
No. It doesn't have a wedge, and it doesn't have that insert like they have for the Weber to set it up higher.
Hey, Chip, when that rotisserie comes, when I get my rotisserie, I'm gonna make another cook video. I'll make a video of a rotisserie cook with the Huntsman because I feel that that's warranted. I haven't made a cook video. I've only made one video for this Huntsman, and it was the walk around demo that I like to do when I get something new. But I think the rotisserie on this grill is going to warrant another video.
I agree that
Probably.
the rotisserie on this thing, the one that I've got is I think what everybody will be getting. I think the only difference may be you may even have a beefier motor than what mine has, but the rotisserie comes with the battery, same battery that you could use on the Venom. The only thing I've asked them for in a change on it is to put the same type port on the motor that they have on the Venom, which is a twist port. It plugs in and it twists. I did a 18-pound turkey on it because I wanted to see just how beefy the motor was, because it's not a very big looking motor, and you go, okay, is this thing? That thing is a beast. It didn't
Right.
it didn't wail at all on that 18-pound turkey. And 18-pound turkey is about as big as you're going to get on the Huntsman. Anything bigger than that, you're going to be scraping the bottom.
Well,
But
looky
it
here,
did a nice job.
Freddie's
It didn't
here.
pick up. It didn't belly it.
Hey, Freddie.
Of course.
Thank you, sir. I haven't talked to Freddie in a while. I hope the pizza business is still good. So,
He
anyway,
commented on my salmon tonight.
yeah. Anthony says that he finds the 3-2-1 method to be too long. I'm fine with fall off the bone ribs. I got no problem
Me too.
with fall off the bone ribs.
Because what I do with some of the leftovers is I like pulling the bone out and then making me a McRib sandwich.
Yeah, that's something else we ought to do one night, Jeff. We ought to do a McRib sandwich episode and do that and do it. I'm trying to decide if that's better done with pork spare, New York or St. Louis cut, or if that's better done with a rack of baby backs. It probably does better.
I think baby back.
I did that video.
It's going to fit better on the bun. I mean, full set of racks, it's not going to fit on the bun too well, or at least you'll have to go cut the
is
other
something
way.
we should have done when we were doing game day stuff, because you can make a McRib sandwich to feed 10 people right there.
Oh yeah, take a loaf of French bread.
Heck yeah, and make the bacon jam to go on it and whatever else. Yeah. So, but heck yeah, that's a good setup.
McRib on steroids.
So, yeah. Let me bring Tanya back up in here. We're getting down to the end. Tanya, is there some questions that we still need to look into?
No, I did not see that. Anthony did point out that he thought that your ribs did show the red color.
Well, I'm glad it came through. I couldn't get a picture today that suited me on showing that color. But when you're cooking ribs in competition, the color is very important in the judging. That appearance from the color is a big deal. And also, this Blues Hog sauce, this original sauce is a little darker sauce than a lot. And I think some of these competition teams were thinning out their Blues Hog sauce a little bit with apple juice maybe. And that was bringing even lighter red to this process, is making it very good. So,
and also we want to give a shout out and wish Anthony and his wife a happy 19th wedding anniversary coming up.
Awesome. Anthony's had a wedding anniversary.
So that's awesome.
So these ribs are going to get eaten quickly because my freezer went out. Okay, there we go. Anyway, my freezer died this week, and I'm without a deep freezer again. And I threw another big mess of meat in the dumpster this week. So I'm going to have to buy another freezer, which I haven't done yet. I'm going to think through that before it happens. But anyway, I think we're winding up here. I've covered everything I wanted to cover tonight, but I wanted like I said, this rub, you're going to probably have to mail order it. You're not likely to find it on a shelf, but I highly recommend giving it a try. Go have a look at Simply Marvelous Barbecue. And like I said, I think when I looked at their website, it didn't work. It's simplymarvelousbbq.com. And I'll see if I can bring it up while we're talking about it here because their website was not usable. Which I find a little bit distressing. Yeah, this is what their website looks like. It's just in a state of disarray. Somebody's not maintaining the website, or they're not interested in having their own website anymore for sales. But Big Papa Smokers sell those rubs, and I think you can probably get them on Amazon. I got that one on Amazon, so I'm just guessing that some of the other flavors are on there as well. But definitely try the Blues Hog barbecue sauce. You won't be disappointed with Blues Hog if you like sauces that are sweet, which most barbecue sauces, with the exception of Western NC sauce or Eastern North Carolina sauces, have a good amount of sweetness to them. So, all right. Brewster says he's never tried Blues Hog, but Brewster, you probably should. I don't know. Everybody's got their favorite barbecue sauces, and Jeff, I think barbecue sauces are a lot like bread. In my audience, not many people want to make barbecue sauce. Everybody's buying sauces. I finally have my homemade barbecue sauce recipe where I like it. I'm out of it. I need to make some more, but I like to make it and can it in mason jars where I've got it, and it's about time for me to make another batch. So I guess we're about ready to I don't know what's gonna come up next week yet, Anthony. On a broken out whole chicken. Man, I don't know. What do you think, Jeff? You want to do a chicken next week? Your mic's off.
That's because Sonny has decided it's playtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may consider Cornish game hens instead of chicken.
Well, I tell you what, let's do some chicken next week, and you do Cornish game hens, and I'll do something else. I don't know what I might do. I might do my favorite chicken is just leg quarters, so maybe I'll do something with that. Maybe I'll do some barbecue chicken leg quarters. That'd be fun. That'd be a good cook that won't take all day, and I can get creative with that. I'll tell you something though, Anthony. You got to be careful with barbecue rubs when you're cooking over direct heat. All barbecue rubs that have sugar in them are they're scorch hazards. So you've really got to watch your heat and watch how quickly you're applying heat. The barbecue rubs, especially like this one, because this one's got a lot of sugar in it. You have to use them a little more sparingly, but I think it'd be fun to do some chicken. Tanya, maybe I'll run up to the cash and carry up there at
Breeden.
It's not called Breeden anymore. Is it Tyson? Who's the chicken processor?
Place.
We have a chicken processing plant right up the road here. I can't remember if it's Tyson or if it's somebody else. It used to be called Breeden, but they've got a cash and carry store I can drive up to and buy chicken, and it's excellent quality chicken that I get from them. And I don't know if I can buy leg quarters from them or not, but maybe I'll run in there and have a look. So, all right, we'll do something with chicken next week. Cool. Jeff will do something, and I'll do something as well. I'm probably going to do leg quarters, and Jeff's going to do Cornish game hens. So, I may do leg quarters. I may just do thighs. We'll see what I can find. If I can't find leg quarters, maybe I'll try to do some competition style chicken thighs. I haven't done those in a really long time. maybe I could try to do Myron Mixon's cupcake chicken. Have you seen that, Jeff? The
man,
competition.
that's turned out good.
Yeah, the
That's an easy
competition
make.
style.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's an easy make. He's got a video out on it too that you can watch.
Does he? I'll
Yep.
have to check that out. That might be fun, but I like doing the leg, the thigh, or the combination of the two. So if I can buy leg quarters, maybe I'll do
Yep.
leg
He does
quarters.
them in silicone cupcake pans now.
Right. Okay. So then, Anthony, you made the call. We're going to do chicken next week. So.
And you know what? I think I'm going to use the same rub and sauce.
I don't know what I'm going to do yet.
Take it a different direction.
The thing about doing pieces of chicken, I can do them multiple ways. I could use more than one rub, more than one sauce. I don't have a lot of commercial barbecue sauce here. I've got this jar of Blues Hog, and I've got the stuff from what else do I have back there? I don't know what I've got. I'll have to look. I've got the stuff. I've got Scott Bartlow's sauce that I could use as a commercial. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just make my sauce and include that as part of the part of my stuff for next week. Maybe I'll make a batch of my homemade barbecue sauce. That sounds like a plan. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all hanging out with us this week once again. And we'll be back same time next week. Y'all have a good week.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.